There we go, Angelina. There we go. Yeah.
That's right.
Top 5 dances right now. What a way to kick this off. Oh, hello, Angelina.
Hello, Jeremy.
How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. And especially now that, it's been a long day. So this is refreshing.
Absolutely. I mean, you got into it. You were jamming out. We were talking about Calvin and Hobbes and Jay-Z, talking about 30 years of advertising and advertising technology history. Tell our fans, tell our listeners, who am I speaking with?
I'm an ad executive who's been around the digital industry for 30 years and has played various different roles, especially on the agency side. Account executive, media planner buyer, ad ops, analytics, and now I'm at the IAB and loving it. I oversee the measurement, addressability, and data center.
Love that. Measurement, addressability, and data, 3 huge topics that come up in many conversations for us both. Such a great, I think it's pretty cool just going, as you and I talked about, for those listening, Angelina has spent time agency side, on the brand side, and then going to the IAB and trying to just make the ecosystem a better place for all of consumers and for all the advertisers and for all the tech companies behind it. So pretty badass. Would love to have a better understanding of just what defines you, just as an executive, as someone who gives a damn.
So I take a look at what's happening and just come up with ways to make it better. And so that's either through a process or through a spreadsheet or through helping to educate the industry through my LinkedIn posts or helping people
Love
find
your
a
LinkedIn
job.
Posts. Your LinkedIn posts are amazing.
Thank you.
What's a
so are yours?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. What's a proud accomplishment of something that you've done?
I would say there's not one particular thing other than seeing that the people that I've worked with, especially the ones that work for me under my teams, have flourished and grown in this industry. I've had the pleasure of working with some great people from when they were assistant media planners or ad op specialists to now seeing them leading great teams and working on multiple accounts and, seeing them on stage or whatever. And so it's almost like kind of being that proud mama moment when your son graduates. It's that same feeling. So to me, it's not a particular project or a particular company I've worked on. It's the people that I've worked with.
I love that response. That's one of the reasons why I decided to build OhHello. It's to connect people. And it's because of the people behind our industry for that very reason. So that was a really nice answer. Thank you. Like you said, I'm asking you all the really hard ones. What would you, let me rephrase it. How would you characterize your skill set that you're going to be able to share with the OhHello community?
Yeah, so I think of myself as both a generalist and a specialist. So I go from being a specialist to a generalist in a lot of different ways, right? So when it was account services, understanding how a brand thinks and what is important to them, how do they think about their audiences, what are the messages that they need to create, to media planning and buying, how do you reach them, what's the life cycle or the customer journey, right? So I started getting into a lot of different things in terms of being able to then take my experience and move it into a different role. And so I've had the luxury of evolving myself due to my mentors, right? I've had some great mentors that have pushed me to a level where sometimes my comfort zone is like, I don't know that stuff. And then they'll be like, no, you do. You just need to do it. And so all of that experience has allowed me to think of business-wise, right? Like a brand, a media planner and buyer, right? Understanding where to target those audiences, a lot of research, all right? And then from the ad op standpoint, as when I led ad ops at Dentsu and at Merkle, understanding the pipes. So to really understand like what's changing and what you need to do, and especially preparing yourself for the deprecation of cookies, privacy regulations, the Apple iOS stuff. you have to not only have, know what you want from a business standpoint or what the industry is looking for from a business standpoint, but understand the logistics and the operations behind it. Because if you don't understand that, then it's hard to actually solve for some of the challenges that we're facing.
Yeah, understanding the logistics and the pipage and the leakiness of the pipage for sure. What excites you about mentorship? What excites you about being able to give back to people that are trying to find some answers, get some help, get some consultation, some advice?
So when you have people that actually grow and learn and start doing things in a relatively consistent manner, it creates a community. And there is a sense of accomplishment when you can get a large enough group to move in the same direction. And to me, that is what drives me, especially given my role here at IAB,
Yep.
to really see that happen. And I think right now we do have a challenge, right? So I don't think that there's enough companies really prepared for the deprecation of third-party cookies.
Nope.
I especially don't think they're fully aware of all the privacy regulation that is going into effect and continuing to evolve. And there are a lot of organizations out there selling solutions, rightfully so, because that's their job, but they're not also seeing the big picture and figuring out how to actually solve for the much larger picture.
I appreciate that answer. Yeah, those answers, plural. What would you tell your younger self, just in general, about your experience, about your career, about your profession?
I mean, I love my profession. I love this industry. I love how it's evolved, but also that there's also things that haven't changed in 30 years, like billing reconciliation. So we still have issues with billing. Someone had asked me, like, when you look back, like, do you think about what your role has been in the industry? And I kind of think back and I was like, well, like I've had an influence, but I like to think that that what I've done is to help other people come together and just get things done, right? It's not just me. And I keep harping on this in this podcast, but it really is, it's a collaboration. It's teamwork. Angie was there to help people out, to give people advice, to mentor, and she has created other people to do the same, right? And so
Totally.
It's kind of that Marc Goldberg, if any of you guys know, he didn't coin the phrase, but he started using the hashtag pay it forward. And so I've kind of picked up on that, and that's really, really it, right? So I want to be known as the girl that paid it forward.
Who are some mentors that have had a profound impact on your professional career?
I've had two.
Okay.
No, I'll do three. So one is I'll do three.
Okay,
one of them is, his name is Jon Kaiser. So I don't know if you know Jon Kaiser, but he was my first media director at Y&R. We were part of Brand Dialogue, and he was the coolest media director ever to work for, because our team was very diverse, and we had everyone from different ethnic backgrounds, different sexual orientations, different ages. And he was the one that let me do what I needed to do and encouraged it, right? And knew that I was really into numbers and spreadsheets. So he's like, hey, I'll give you more responsibility. You want to teach the team how to do, pivot tables? Go ahead. You want to figure out how the ad server is supposed to work and help us roll that out?
Right.
Let's do that. So he was one. He had a great style. He was always like, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Why do you think that? Why should the client care? What does it matter, right? What's this gonna do for them? And so he always made me think about why.
I love that.
So yes, we got a 0.02% click-through rate or 3% click-through. Why do you think we got 3% click-through rate, right? Not just, hey, this got a click-through rate of 3%. Another one is a man named Walt Cheruk, who
Walt what?
Cheruk.
Got it.
So Cheruk, and he was the media director over at Moda Media. I was on the account side. I had to. I heard that there was an opening on his media team after a year or so working there, and I said, "Hey, can I be on your team?" He's like, how much do you really know media? And so I was like, I know media a lot. Like, and so he said, okay. He came on board and he really mentored me. He was the one that allowed me to get into things like terms and conditions, also build out a process within Modem Media. He helped. He said, "Why don't you help work with the ad ops team and help our research and analytics team build out capabilities so that we have a consistent way of measuring things?" And then when I went over to Cara, he hired me again to run ad ops, right? And then we worked together so we worked at Modem Media together. Then we worked at Cara, where he hired me as an ad ops person. I was like, I don't want to do any more media plans.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, okay, I don't need you to do any more media plans. I need someone who understands process, bring it in, make it all consistent. You seem to be the right fit. And over the years, I went to Morgan Stanley and he became my boss at Morgan Stanley. So I've worked for this gentleman 3 times in my career. And each time he was like, you can do this. Like, you can run ad ops. I was like, I don't know how to traffic. He's like, don't worry, you'll figure it out. Went to Morgan Stanley. I was like, well, I'm not a data scientist. I'm not data, he's like, but you understand data. So you're going to run data. I'm like, okay. And so he's been a great mentor.
So there are a couple themes there, confidence, trust, and just the power of relationships, the power of just of you and Walt knowing each other, understanding each other's strengths and weaknesses, and being able to collaborate in a way that he could push you in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's awesome.
How I can push him too. So
obviously. How about your third?
My third one is a woman named Karen Anderson, who I also met at Modem Media. And I didn't work for her directly, but we worked on several projects together, including the terms and conditions. And she really she's just a great role model in terms of work-life balance and being able to see how she was, I don't think she was working full-time, but she was working part-time, but she was able to do a lot. So just looking at her and getting advice from her and trying to emanate the way that she was able to have such a positive attitude at work all the time and engage with her team. She doesn't know this, so I've never really talked about her. So if she hears this, but she was a big influence in my life.
It's amazing. Well, and that's part of the altruism of both the OhHello platform of what we're creating, but also doing these podcasts with other executives. When it comes to thinking through who has had a meaningful impact, whether it's a friend-tor, a mentor, a colleague, a former manager, someone that you've managed, being able to think through it and say, oh my gosh, I'm going to call that person out. I may have never told her. I may have never told him. So it just makes you feel good because it shows a sense of appreciation. Well, thank you. Thank you for calling out those 3 individuals. As OhHello, you know that you're going to be able to donate to approximately 50 different charities that are within our platform. What is a cause near and dear to you, whether or not it's in our platform?
Autism Speaks.
Cool.
My grandson has autism. I have a few family members that are a bit on the spectrum, and I think it's really important to be able to provide resources to them, either physically or mentally or just from an entertainment standpoint.
I love it. I have some autistic family members, and I appreciate you sharing that. Any other parting words of wisdom that you have for us, Angelina?
Always push yourself. Don't doubt yourself.
Love that.
I think a lot of people, especially given the current landscape where I think there's a lot of people out of work or looking for jobs, and it's really challenging. I encourage people to network and have a positive attitude, and I think it's important to make sure that you have that positive attitude.
Definitely follow Angelina on LinkedIn. She just provides so many words of encouragement, words of wisdom. That is how we actually met. And so being able to just you hearing that from you because you provide so much empathy daily, weekly on the platform. Just want to say thank you on behalf of everyone. This was fun. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Put on some exit music. Dance it off. Thanks, Angelina.
Thank you.
Excited for you to be part of OhHello. Thanks, everyone, for listening. See you soon.